Imagine the weekend camp that followed. The early morning bugle, the morning plunge in Lake Adolphus, the lake was not crowded, breakfast in the sunlight, and afterwards, each party assembling beside the flagpoles and starting off for the day. One of the very popular climbs was Mount Mum, 9,718 feet. A large party, attracted by the fact that it was supposedly an easy climb, requiring about 4.5 hours, started out the day after we had settled in camp. Up they went, through brush, over loose rock, over more loose rock, and still more, until they finally struck snow. With alpenstocks and rope, they crossed a fairly steep snowy field and reached a battlement of rock chimneys. The last 30 feet of the climb was made via the rope up a chimney of loose rock. The view from the top was superb, an awe-inspiring vista on every side. To be sure, by the time the party reached camp again, it had taken them 11 hours to make the climb. But it was a worthy expedition. 2 more parties climbed Mum, though neither was as fortunate in the weather conditions. 2 parties climbed Resplendent, 11,240 feet. A long climb and an unusual one in that it is entirely a snow climb. The first party ran into a blizzard near the summit and found it hard and unpleasant traveling in the terrific and icy wind. But they reached the top in spite of a variety of weather conditions, although they had no view when they arrived there. The second Resplendent party made the climb under more favorable conditions. Starting in the gloom of 4 a.m., they were well on their way up Robson Glacier by broad daylight. The view from Resplendent was one of the finest of the whole outing. On the far side, you could look down in the direction of the Denison Britton Ranch. Back of you lay Robson Glacier, Rearguard, Titkana, Gendarme, Mum, and range upon range of other peaks, while Robson and the Helmet, at one side, seemed almost near enough to touch. The climb of Rearguard, 9,000 feet, by way of Robson Glacier was an interesting one for several reasons. It gave an opportunity to climb in and out and up and over the field of Syrinx, which lay at the base of Rearguard. It furnished, part way up the side of Rearguard, an icy pool into which certain ardent swimmers had fun glissading off the snow. At the top of Rearguard, a cairn was ceremoniously erected. Each member of the party put a rock in place, the tube was put inside, and Professor Meany, with appropriate words, dedicated the structure. The climb of the face of Rearguard, made by Bert Farquharson, Happy Fisher, Amos Hand, and Peyton Ferrer, was the most difficult of the whole outing. A narrow chimney runs from the rounded shale base of the mountain all the way to the top. Towards this chimney they climbed, up its right side first, and then into the chimney itself, where a narrow snow finger lay between 2 rock walls, 6 or 8 feet high. Without ice axes or rope, they proceeded up a slope which was so steep that a man standing upright could touch the ground in front of him with an arm stretched out at full length. The greatest difficulty was in keeping their hands from getting numb with cold. Finally adopting a caterpillar formation, each man rested his hands on the heels of the man ahead, thus giving security of foothold and warming his own hands at the same time. Had the snow been crusted, it would have been impossible to climb without ice axes. As it was, the snow was simply hard packed. The climb required about 4 hours, and having reached the top, the climbers came down the back way of Rearguard, the longer but easier slope which led round by way of Robson Glacier.